All right, viewers, that was US President Donald Trump making a huge statement. He said today morning that China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history by China starting during the 2020 election cycle. The compromise, the White House said, resulted in China's acquisition of 220 million US voter files. Trump said this data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington said Beijing has never and will never interfere in the presidential elections of the United States. Let's once again play out that part for you.
I have revealed tonight my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I have revealed tonight my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can.
All right, my colleague Brian is also joining us now. Brian, very good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us. Trump, of course, making big allegations now on China, while on one hand we thought that China is not anymore the #1 enemy of the United States. Trump now coming out just ahead of the midterms and putting the blame on China for the 2020 election. Take us through now the entire statement that China has put out in response.
Clearly, if we talk about what has transpired, it started with obviously Trump's press conference where he addressed the nation, and he alleged that China accessed US voter data, called it an election security nightmare. As of now, what we're getting to know, he also called for orders for declassification of election, intelligence. Very importantly, he even presented some documents also, and even directed the ODNI, which is the Officer of Director of National Intelligence Department of Justice. And not only that, he has clearly stated that Chinese actors are allegedly obtained personal information belonging to the nearly 220 million American voters, which includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political affiliation, and other voter registration details, and also described the incident as an unprecedented election security nightmare, and alleged that Beijing had created a dedicated unit to exploit the stolen data. As of now, even very importantly, if we talk about what has been transpired, these data is also is extremely significant also on what has been going on, what even Trump responded, and what even Trump stated with allegedly the fact that Beijing is interfering or China is interfering. Even if we speak about what China has stated, China has strongly rejected US President Donald Trump's allegation that Beijing interfered in American election or obtained sensitive voter data, responding to the claims made by Trump's address. China's foreign ministry reiterated that China has never interfered in US elections. and has no intention of doing so, and also accused Washington of repeatedly using China as a political issue in domestic debates. Not only that, Beijing also urged that the US to stop making what it called groundless accusations and said election-related issues are America's internal affairs, and Chinese officials maintain that China consistently opposes cyber attacks in all forms and also called for differences between two countries to be handled through dialogue rather than what it described as unfounded allegations. As of now, China has yet to not acknowledge the Trump's claim regarding the alleged acquisition of the 220 million US voter records, and the allegation remains still unverified as of now. Yes.
All right, Brian, thank you very much for joining us on this. And now, viewers, let's shift our focus, stay on the US Iran war.